going to be reading cozy fall books for the week, which actually feels a little crazy to me because I'm not like, I'm ready for fall, but like I'm just not ready to let summer go. Like I almost wish that we could have both seasons at the same time. Like right now I feel like it's the perfect weather because I have this zip up on because the wind is making it kind of chilly, and I actually have a blanket on top of me, like right here. But it is warm enough where like the sun is out and like I feel really comfortable out here. It doesn't feel like too cold, you know what I mean? Like it feels like the perfect temperature, but I know that this temperature isn't going to stay for too long. So I'm just like really enjoying it right now, but I am just definitely excited for fall, but also like feeling sad that summer is going to. I am like ready for the like cooler weather because it has been like very hot, but I mean I will say like the Midwest doesn't get like crazy hot. Like this last week it was like in the 90s, and that was like the hottest it's gotten like all summer. But most of the time in the Midwest, like we're usually like in the 80s, which is like Fahrenheit, which is pretty good, like 81, 82, so like nothing too wild. But our winters get like so cold, so I am preparing for that, even though I don't know, it's far enough away where I'm not like stressed about it, but also I know it's coming because the minute that fall's here, like I'm already thinking about winter. But we're gonna be reading some cozy books to get into the fall mood. Like I said, the weather here is definitely giving cozy. I don't know if it is in your area, but the Midwest, like we get fall so fast. I feel like right now I think it's 70 something degrees, like maybe 72 or something like that. And with the wind off the water, it's like even chillier. So let me show you guys the book that I want to start first. So this is the book that I'm going to be reading first. I've already actually started this. I'm like a little bit into it, but not too far. I started this yesterday, and this is Cherie LaPina's newest book, and this is one of my favorite thriller authors. They wrote The Couple Next Door. They've also written so many other thrillers that I love. I'm not sure if I'm going to read just thrillers in this video or if I'm going to read like cozy romances. Like I don't know, I'm just gonna kind of like play it by ear. If you guys watched one of my last vlogs, I really got into historical fiction and have like bought some historical fictions, and like I'm excited to read them. So I'm just gonna like kind of play it by ear and see like what I gravitate towards. So it's definitely gonna be cozy, and it's definitely gonna be fall-esque, and maybe we'll do some like fall things in this video. I definitely want to go pick up some flowers. I picked up some mums in one of my last videos, and they're like doing pretty well, and I feel like since the weather's gotten kind of cooler, they'll be perfect for our front yard. So I might get some more of those and also get some fall decor. So chilly at night that it's actually wild. I'm so surprised that it's like already starting to feel kind of like fall. Like last night it got down to, I think it was in the 50s, and it's supposed to get down to like the 40s Fahrenheit whenever like a few days from now. But I had to turn on the heat last night. I just was like, usually we don't keep our house that chilly. And I was actually reading outside last night, and it also was like 66 degrees, and I had to put on a crew neck. So it is the Midwest. Like people talk all the time about how like, oh, it's not like really fall until like late September. Like to me, after my birthday, it feels like fall, because the minute that it hits that like mid-August in the Midwest, I feel like it gets really, really hot, and then it just like cools down super fast. I'm already cooking like a little crock pot meal. I feel like crock pot meals are truly like quintessential Midwest like vibes, and I just like love cooking like crock pot meals for dinner in the like fall and winter. I am almost finished with this book. I have about I think less than 100 pages left. Yeah, it's really good so far. It's been very fast paced. I definitely wouldn't say it's one of my favorites of hers, but it's still one of those books that you do not know what's gonna happen. Like, I am so close to the end and I have no idea who like the bad person is, like literally none at all, which those are my favorite types of thrillers. This is definitely like a popcorn thriller. Like, you pick it up, you'll finish it super fast, like you'll enjoy it while you're reading it, and then you'll probably never like think about it ever again. And that's kind of how I feel about this book. Definitely a good book to read if you're looking for a thriller, but I wouldn't say that it's like one of my favorites of this author. I've read like, I think 5 of their other books. I'm gonna show you guys the book that I plan on starting next. This is the book that I wanna start next. It's definitely giving like fall vibes. It's not like a thriller per se. I think it's more of like a mystery, but I think it definitely gives the vibes of fall. I also really loved the author's book, Ace of Spades, like their other book that they wrote. So I feel like I really like this one. This is their newest release. Obviously you guys saw me doing Pilates yesterday, and I've been trying to like get out and do more things where I can like meet more friends. Like, I have a lot of friends in town, but a lot of my friends have also moved away too. Like my friend Nancy, she moved away. She is in residency and she like has a new program that she's in that's in Chicago now. So she moved from Springfield. My friend Lynn, she recently got married. Like, she also moved away. I just have so many friends who've moved away. So I've been trying to like put myself out there and just like, not just do fun things, but like actually connect with the community that I'm in. Like, you guys know I go to Pilates like 2 times a week, but a lot of the time I'll just like go and then go home. You know what I mean? I'm not like really trying to like stay and talk to people, but I actually like sent a message to one of the girls I go to Pilates with. We've been to the same like couple classes a few times, and I sent a message and was like, hey, like, do you want to like get a smoothie after like class or something? And like, why does that make me so nervous? Like, and I feel like a really good network of friends like that live here and live like far away, but I feel like my friends are in just like all different types of life. Like, some of my friends, they have kids. Some of my friends don't have kids. Some of my friends like are more introverted. Some of my friends are like very extroverted and they like to be like out and about. So I feel like I do have like a good range of friends. But again, I feel like it can be easy to get into kind of like, not a rut, but like just hanging with the same people and not like broadening your network of like friends. So I've been really trying to do that, and it is so nerve-wracking. Like, it's so scary. I'm gonna finally put away the books that I got whenever I was book shopping in my last like book shopping video, so make sure you guys are watching that, or have watched it if you haven't already. But not only have I been thinking about friendship a lot, just like the friends that I have, and like really instilling just like time and intention into those friendships, I've also been just like really thinking about how my journey with like wanting to be child free has changed so much, and how like I now want kids and like have that desire, which I never had before. But it is absolutely wild, like so wild, how I went from being like, oh, like I don't want kids, and like, well, when I was younger I like wanted kids, and then I got into college and was like, I don't want kids, and it was kind of like that like for a really long time. And I got pressured so much from people to have kids. Like, even before Brady and I like got married, people were like, oh, you guys have been together for 6 years, like you guys need to like have kids, which is so wild because we got married when I was 25. Like, we were so broke, had no time for anything. Like, we're just like grinding away at our jobs, like really wanting to like build something, you know, like be successful and like all the things. And it's so wild how I was pressured so much to have kids at like age 25, 26, like just, I'm a baby, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a baby. Like, I don't even have like a full-time like job really for that long at that point, and pressured so much. And like, we would be like, oh, like financially, like, you know, we just don't know if this is like something that we're ready for, or like we just don't have the desire. Because like at that time I feel like we weren't like as set on not having kids. We were kind of just like, oh, like maybe like we'll be open to it, maybe we won't. And then we kind of got to a point where we would tell people like we don't want to have kids, but like if we change our mind, like we're open to the idea of changing our minds, but we're very confident in like the fact that like we do not want kids. Again, we've always been like open to the idea of like our minds changing, because I mean, y'all see I'm wearing dresses and floral. If you look back at my old videos, I was wearing neutrals and like crew necks and hoodies like all the time. And I like, don't really drink for real now. And I used to like drink a lot, and I used to like party a lot. And now I like want to be at home reading my books. Like, I'm well aware that as a human I can change my mind, but I was very like if people ask me like, do you want kids? I would be like, no, like I do not. But again, I can easily change my mind one day. I just don't know, but like I don't have that desire. So anyway, we would get pressured so much. Like, people would be like, oh, like, you don't have any money, it's okay, like, you can make it work, like, just like all these things that we were like, can you guys like calm down, like let us decide? And now, which is wild, like we've been like opening up more about how our mind has changed and how we are like really excited to be parents one day, how like we want to have kids, how we still respect people who don't want to have kids and how that's their decision. I think that like people should come to that decision on their own, whether they want to or not. Like, they shouldn't be pressured into anything. And I remember like the first time that I like opened up to someone being like, hey, like I think I want to, like, I know I want to have kids, but I think I want to start like being open about it, like talking about it, because it's such a weird thing when you like make a decision for anything, whether it's like, I'm a big drinker, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't want to drink anymore. And people are like, what? Or if you're like, oh, like I like eat meat, and then I like want to be vegan or vegetarian. Like, I feel like people so often want to keep you into a box of like one person, one way of thought. They're like, oh, well, like you've always wanted to do this, or you've always had this thought of like being this way. And I'm like, yeah, I have, and I'm not anymore like that. So anyway, we kind of thought that we would get a lot of like excitement from people who like whenever we're telling them like, yeah, like one day we definitely want to have kids, we have that desire now, like we're both 32, we have a different perspective on life. And again, respecting people who don't want to have kids, like that's totally, like if that's what you want to do, like totally understand, but like that's not like what we like want anymore. And we thought people would be like, oh my God, this is so great that you like, are thinking differently, because when we were 25, 26, 24, 23, people were pressuring us heavy. Like, we've been together for 12 years now. So we thought that people would be like really excited for us, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, because they were the same ones who were pressuring us, like the same exact people who were pressuring us to have kids. And now it's like, are you sure? Like, are you sure that this is something that you want? Have you thought about it? Like, are you sure? I'm like, y'all, like we have not had kids for 12 years of our relationship, 6 years of our marriage, and we've been very, very adamant that like we are adults and like know what we want. And it has been so wild. And I haven't really like shared this anywhere on the internet, because like it just is like a weird thing to talk about, because I don't know, it just feels like weird to talk about, because I've never really heard anyone talk about like the shift and how people try to keep you into one box and how they don't really allow you to change your mind. It has been absolutely wild. So we've had to really like grapple with our like excitement for wanting to be parents one day, and like never ever having that desire and never having that feeling to want to be a parent. Well, I guess I wouldn't say never, but again, like since I was younger, like when I was younger, I wanted like 10 kids. Like then I like changed my mind. And like now we're like, oh, we could totally see that like happening one day. And people just like are not happy, excited, are not celebrating that thought. The same people who are like pressuring us to have kids when we were like, oh, we don't want them. And I don't know if part of that is like people just like don't, like people just want to like yuck your yum, like is that, I don't know if that's it. Like they just want to like play devil's advocate, or maybe they are like miserable with their life. So like at the time when they were like pressuring us to have kids, they were kind of having kids, and then they have kids, like maybe they're like sad about it. I don't know. Like I have no idea where like people have kind of like gotten that perspective, but we're not asking you for permission. We're not asking you for us to like, we're not asking you to make us feel any type of way. We're just telling you how we feel and like our thoughts like going forward. And like, I think I also got a lot of these types of thoughts when I would like tell people I wanted to be like a full-time creator. Like when I went from a job where I was like a director, I worked with families who had kids with special needs, and these books do not fit on this bookshelf. I have to make some room. But whenever I was doing that, I like love that job so much, and I would talk about how much I loved it, but then I ended up loving like creating and talking and hanging out with you guys even more. And so many people were like, ooh, are you sure you want to switch your career? Are you sure? Are you sure? And I'm like, weren't you the one who was telling me to quit my job? Like, you were telling me to like go full time, like follow your dreams. And I was like, no, like financially, I'm like not like ready for that yet. Like I'm not ready for the transition. I love my job. And then like when I decide like, yes, I'm going to like make the leap, and like, ooh, like, I don't know. And I don't know, like, and this I think sometimes is why people like keep their business secret, because so many people want to like pressure them to change their mind. But I want to remind you, and this is like the whole reason for this little chat, I want to remind you that you know yourself better than literally anyone. If you want to get a new job, if you want to move to a new city, if you want to have kids, if you don't want to have kids, if you want to change your style, if you want to like get with a boyfriend and move in with him or a girlfriend or whatever, like whatever you want to do, you know yourself better than anyone. So do not let someone's fear of what could or couldn't happen in that situation for you, like become your identity and become the way you view your life and how it will be if you make that decision. Like if I follow people's advice for like what I shouldn't do in life, like I would not be in the career that I'm in. I would not be with the partner that I'm with. Like I would not, like so many people when Brady and I got together, they're like, oh, like that's your best friend. Like what if you guys like ruin it? Like people just like, and I don't know, I think some people will celebrate you, but then I think more often than not, people project their fears of something onto you. And it has just been really interesting for us to like navigate this, because again, I don't think there's been one person, I don't want to say one, but there have been very few people who have just been like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Like, that's really cool. Every person for the most part that we've talked to, that we've kind of like opened up and been like, yeah, like one day in the future we want to have kids, they're like, well, I just want to say like, it's hard, it's a rocky road, like it's gonna be the hardest thing ever. I'm like, y'all were the people when I was 24 who are like, it's the most magical thing, it doesn't matter if you have money, it doesn't matter, like it's so funny. It is just so funny. So I've been really trying to lean into my own like, I don't know, intuition, and also like pray and really think about like what I want and like my own desires, which again is what led me to not having kids. Like when people pressured us to have kids, I was like, no, I don't have the desire. I do not have the desire to be a mom. I do not have the desire to be selfless in any way, to change my life in any way. I don't have that desire, so I'm not gonna let you decide what my life is gonna look like for me. And now I feel like it's the same, but just like opposite. Now I'm like, no, I do want to be a mom. No, I do want to like add another life into my home. Like, and people, it's just like so interesting, people's like commentary behind that. But again, I want to encourage you, because if you're going through something where you feel so much pressure from everyone else to like do a certain thing, and maybe it's not something you want to do, you know yourself better than anyone. Like literally you do. So I want to encourage you to follow whatever that thing is, because again, you know yourself better than anyone. I've gotten to chapter 25 of this book, and honestly, it is so slow. If I were to DNF a book, which you guys know that I don't DNF books, if I were to DNF one, I would probably DNF this one. But the thing with me and like DNFing books is I always feel like the book could completely turn around, like the middle or the end. I feel like sometimes the ending of a book, especially like a mystery or a thriller, can like really just send me for a loop and make me love the book even more. So I'm gonna hang in there. I'm at like the 243 pages, and there's like almost 400 pages. So I'm pretty close to like being finished. I also feel like I get so much FOMO whenever whenever I like even think about DNFing a book, because I'm like, what if I'm missing something that's so good? You know what I mean? This book is about a girl who is in like a boarding school and she disappears. I feel like this book is definitely like, I don't know, not my vibe, but could be someone else's vibe. I'm not a big mystery girly. Like, I pretty much only read thrillers, and almost every mystery I've read, I have not enjoyed, because I like popcorn thrillers, like super fast paced, like, you know, boom, 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 like that kind of thing. And this is definitely not that. This is like putting the puzzle pieces together. It's very like, just feels realistic to if someone were to disappear and you were like to try to figure out what happened. Like, it feels like this is how it would actually go in real life, not like in a movie or a book. So if you do like mysteries, I can definitely see you enjoying this book. But for me, it's just, I'm not really enjoying it, but I am gonna finish it because I definitely wanna be able to give like my full perspective of the book. Again, I've never DNF'd a book, and you guys are always like, DNF book, DNF, and I'm like, I just can't. I literally can't do it. I cannot do it. And I think it's because like, I don't know, I just get so much FOMO, and I like want to figure out what happens at the end, especially with books like this that are like mysteries or thrillers. But even in romances, like I want to figure out like, do they end up together? Or like, I don't know, I just, I also feel like I do have a good judge of like what kind of books I do enjoy. So even the books that I'm like potentially thinking about DNFing, they're usually books that I like enjoy something within the story, you know what I mean? Like, I've read Ace of Spades by this author and absolutely loved it. So I expected to like this one, but it's just not, it's not doing it for me. It just kind of feels like not much is happening. So that's where I am with that. I did end up finishing the book by Cherie LaPena, and I will give you guys like a wrap up of everything probably at the end of this video. I do have a package that I want to open with you guys because I ordered this a while ago. I don't even remember what this is, and that's when you know that you order a lot of books or you buy a lot of books. But this is from Majors and Quinn booksellers, and this is a bookstore that is in I don't even know, Minnesota. And I think I just randomly found it, like the book that I wanted online, from this bookshop, so I ended up buying it from there. Oh my god, yes! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I'm so excited for this. I picked up this book. This is by Janisha Boswell. It's Our Secret Game. It's the second book in the Drayton Hills University series. You guys know that I read the first book not that long ago and was obsessed with it. Like 4.5 out of 5 stars. If you like the book Icebreaker, you have to read, I think it's called Our Secret Moments. And it was just incredible. So, so good, so fun. It was definitely spicy, but there were also like a part at the front of the book where you can skip the spice scenes if you want to. It was like a frenemies to lovers story. So freaking cute. So I wanted to pick up the second book in the series, but this is actually like a special edition cover. Most of the covers just have like flowers on the front, and so I wanted the covers, like the cartoons on the front. So I picked this up. It's by a Black author, and I just cannot wait to read this. This says on the back, when you get into a dark place, you've got to let the light in. That's what you are, Nora, the light. This is about Nora, and Nora is like a main character in the first book, Our Secret Moments. Her brother, Connor, is the main like guy character. And so you get to know about Nora. Like, Nora has a boyfriend. He's like not a good boyfriend. And she's into this guy. I want to say his name is like Wes or something. I just cannot wait to read this. So I picked this up from that bookstore because I wanted to have the like cover look like this. I wanted it to be cutesy and just like fun. And the other wow, the other cover, say that time five times fast. The other cover is cute. It just has like flowers on the front. So I kind of wanted the covers to match because the first cover is the cartoon cover that I have, that I own. So I wanted to get this with the cartoon cover too. So I also do have another book haul that I want to share with you guys tomorrow, like some book mail. So I'll probably share that with you guys maybe in the morning. It's like a bigger box and it has some goodies in it. I think this might be the last time I ever asked you guys for recommendations. I got so many. You guys, like, just, I'm stocked. Like, I do not need any more books, even though I'm literally gonna go book shopping, like, probably in a few days. I just love whenever you guys give me recs, because you guys know me so well. I shared a bunch of the books that I didn't end up getting because obviously I cannot buy every single book in the bookstore. I could see myself coming back to get them. But one thing I've learned about like buying contemporary fiction now that I've been buying more of that, it feels like I just started reading again, which is weird, but like you'll understand like whenever I explain. Like I feel like I know romance backwards and forwards. I know the authors, I know the types of books that I like, but getting into a new genre, it is so different for me because I am figuring out what I like. You know what I mean? Like I've read a lot of books that I don't like, which is why I feel like I was kind of like put off from like reading just like contemporary fiction to begin with, and now I feel like I have such a better idea of what I like. I will say I don't think I can buy any contemporary fiction online right now. Like I can easily buy books that are like romance books online because I know the authors and I know the author's writing and what I enjoy. I have no clue, absolutely no clue, these contemporary fiction authors. So I had to really pick up every single book. I had to search for it, for one, pick up every single book, look on the inside, see how much dialogue was in there. And these are the things that I look for. I looked for how much dialogue was in each book. I looked for page breaks to see like how long the chapters were, to see if there was like a ton of internal monologue. I also looked to see like how long the book was. There's one book that looked really, really good. I think it's called like The Most Fun We Ever Had or something. And it was like 600 pages. And I was like, I don't know if I can do it. And I know so many of you guys said that book is incredible, but part of me is like, I want to dip my toe into contemporary fiction. I don't want to read something and be like absolutely put off from the genre because I've gotten really excited about it. And this is the first time I've been excited about this genre since college, because I say this all the time. I went to school and was an English literature major. So all we did was read contemporary fiction, literary fiction, and it was a lot of like heavy text, and like it just wasn't my vibe at the time. I was also reading like 6 books at one time. So I really want to find books that get me excited about like reading that genre again. But I think again that comes with me just like trying new things, but also sticking to like kind of what I know. So I ended up getting 7 books. Guys, I know, I just went book shopping. I know, don't tell me, like literally I don't need to hear it. I know, I just feel like because I'm getting into contemporary fiction, I don't have any of those books on my shelf. So like when I want to reach for something, I don't really have books that are like feeding that like desire. I have tons of romance. So I did end up getting 1 romance in this stack. And I also ended up getting some historical fiction because you guys know that I read The Four Winds, which is really, The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna started all of this. Like reading that book, having it be a 5-star read, having it be a book that really made me think about the history that my parents have went through, the history that like trickles down into my life and into like all of our lives. It just put me just in a different headspace. I don't know. So I'm going to kind of organize these out into what I want to read and like what I want to, well, I guess I want to read all of it, but like I just want to section it out so it's like easier for you guys to see like what exactly I got. So I'm going to share first the historical fiction books, which you guys would not think that historical fiction is interesting if you're someone who normally reads like cutesy romance. But I've been loving it. And obviously I've only read 1 historical fiction book, but like I think because that was a 5-star read, like I just am like, I need to read more of this genre. So I picked up 3 historical fiction books. The first one I picked up is one that you guys recommended heavily. This book and The House of Eve, I think, were my top recommendations because I said I wanted books by Black authors because I don't know, it just is like so cool reading about like the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression from the lens of like a white woman, but I thought it would be so cool to read like historical fiction from people who have like lived similar lives to me, like because they are Black or just like in another minority group. So I picked up The Vanishing Half. This, again, was one of the most recommended books for historical fiction. So many of you guys said that you love this book. This is about twins who are inseparable as children, and then they ultimately choose to live in two very different worlds, one black and one white. And I'm pretty sure like one of the women passes for white, so you get to see two totally different lives and like where their lives go from there. This is set in... It says it starts in 1968, which is wild because my mom was born in 1959, and sometimes I'll see like different dates and stuff, and I just am like, oh, like it seems so far away, but then I'm like, oh my god, that's literally not that far away from like the time I'm living in now. So I don't know, I just think that it's cool to like read history, because even though this book itself might not be like real, there are so many similar accounts that have probably happened in real life that this like kind of is inspired from. At least I don't think this is real. So yeah, I also picked up The Giver of Stars. Y'all, this book is a mom book. Like when I talk about mom books, like books that look like the books that my mom would pick up or my grandma, that's just what I call a mom book. It's not like a thing. Like I literally just say that, like no one else says that, but this looks like a mom book. Like, does it not? Like, can you not see like your mom picking this up? Like, this would be the type of book in the past that I would immediately say no. I'm not even looking at the back of that. And the fact that I picked it up, and not only picked it up and bought it, is so exciting to me, but also so wild. Like, my taste in books has broadened. I wouldn't say changed, because I still love every other genre that I read, but it has broadened, which is so cool because it makes me feel like I have 1,000,001 more books to read. This says Alice Wright marries handsome American Bennett Van Cleve, hoping to escape her stifling life in England, but small town Kentucky quickly proves equally claustrophobic. So when a call goes out for a team of women to deliver books as part of Eleanor Roosevelt's new traveling library, Alice signs on enthusiastically. Soon she will be joined by 4 other singular women who become known as the Packhorse Librarians of Kentucky. Set in Depression-era America and based on a true story, The Giver of Stars is the breathtaking tale of their remarkable journey and a richly rewarding novel of women's friendship, of true love, and of what happens when we reach beyond our grasp for the great beyond. How cool. Like, how cool. I didn't even know that this was like a thing. But then it's like, during the Great Depression, like, era, how did people get, like, books and things? You know, like, how, when a lot of stores were, like, closing down, like, how did literacy continue? So I just, and again, I'm sure that I've learned a lot of these, like, stories or historical facts over time, but I just, like, in one ear, out the other, because maybe at the time I wasn't interested or whatever, but I just now am finding such a deep fascination with it. So I picked that one up, and another book that so many of you guys recommended, which is also written by a Black author. I think it's, like, co-written by a Black author, and then the other author is not Black, is The Personal Librarian. It's written by 2 authors. It says a remarkable novel about J.P. Morgan's personal librarian, Bella de Costa Green, the Black American woman who was forced to hide her true identity and pass as white in order to leave a lasting legacy that enriched our nation. And this is also based on a true story. It says the personal librarian tells the story of an extraordinary woman famous for her intellect, style, and wit, and shares the lengths she must go to for the protection of her family and her legacy to preserve her carefully crafted white identity in the racist world in which she lives. And this is a book that's set in... It starts in 1905, so like we're going back. We're going back. What's crazy, I think I told you guys this in one of my last videos, Brady's dad was born in 1915. 1915. So that's 10 years after like this time frame in this book. Wild. But I think sometimes I'll like just think like, oh, like, you know, this is a like really, really old book and it's like so old, and it's like, okay, but that generation might still be around. They probably are still around. Granted, Brady's dad did pass away, I think, it was a few years ago, but, there are still tons of people who are alive, like, from that generation, because, again, he just passed, like, not even that, like, it was a few years ago, so I just think that it's so cool. I never even knew this story, had no like no information on it, so I'm super excited to read this one. I feel like this is going to be one of the ones that I pick up first. Maybe I'll do a full video on like reading only historical fiction. Let me know if you guys would want to see a video like that. I will say I'm a little nervous to read like all of one type of book. I don't want to get like burnt out on it. But then again, I could get like excited, you know, because like after The Four Winds, I immediately wanted to read another historical fiction. Then I picked up a book that is so surprising to me. It's called Three Women by Lisa Tado. And this is a book that's actually going to be like turned into a show. It says, hailed as a dazzling achievement and a riveting page turner that explores desire, heartbreak, and infatuation in all its messy, complicated nuance. Lisa Tado's Three Women has captivated readers, booksellers, and critics, and topped bestseller lists worldwide. Based on 8 years of immersive research, it's an astonishing work of literary reportage that introduces us to three unforgettable women and one remarkable writer whose experiences remind us that we are not alone. And I think that this is about like their, I don't want to say their sex lives, but it's like, I think it just dives into like almost like their sex diaries in a way. Like it's not about that, but you know what I mean? Like it's just, it has a lot of depth and it talks a lot about, I think, things that maybe people don't share. There's also a work of nonfiction and it's about three women. So like they're sharing their personal accounts. And I just am really excited to read this. I picked it up because it's going to be a show. That's literally the only reason why I picked it up, because I love to read the books before they become shows. And the main characters in this book, this girl right here was in The Fault in Our Stars. What's her name? Cheyenne Woodley, I'm pretty sure. And then there's also like this girl, I cannot remember her name, but she's also famous too. I don't even know if you guys can like see that, but I just genuinely cannot remember her name. But yeah, so they have a lot of like actually like famous people and stuff in it. So I can't wait to read that one. Also picked up a romance, and the romance I picked up actually does not come out until Tuesday, but I came in and I was like, let me see if they have it early. They do. This is Whenever You're Ready by Rachel Runia Katz, and this is a sapphic romance. This is the same author who wrote Thank You Next, I think. Did not read that one, but I'm excited to read this one. I've heard great things about it. It says Nia and Jade had been inseparable ever since their best friend Michael introduced them at their 10th birthday party, but now it's been 3 years since Michael died of cancer. Since the brutal fight Nia and Jade had in the weeks after, they're barely on speaking terms. Until Nia reads a letter Michael wrote for her 29th birthday asking her and Jade to go on the Southern Jewish History road trip they planned before she died. To add to the complications, it's not Michael, it's Michelle, I think. Michelle's then boyfriend and Jade's twin brother Jonah joined the trip. Despite the years apart, and Jade and Jonah's strained relationship, and any awkwardness quickly disappears as it becomes clear how much Nia and Jade have missed each other. Unfortunately, old issues soon arise. Nia has been in love with Jade since they were teenagers, and Jade has been so committed to their friendship that she's never let herself consider something more. As the stops pass, tensions mount, running high until Nia and Jade are forced to confront what happened 3 years ago, their feelings for each other, and even their respective relationships with Jonah. Rachel Runia Katz, Katz's Whenever You're Ready is about family, friendship, and the kind of first love that could last a lifetime if only you're willing to take a chance. And I've seen the ratings of this. They're like 4 stars and above. And again, this like it comes out, I think, on the 10th, I'm pretty sure. So excited to read that one. And then I also picked up some contemporary fiction. This one I picked up, The Girl He Used to Know, is one that you guys recommended because I said I wanted to read contemporary fiction that has like a heavy plot of romance. Like I'm a romance girly, so like if I'm reading contemporary fiction, I need romance in it. I'm so sorry, but I do. And this is about Anika Rose. She's an English major at the University of Illinois, which is literally so close to me. And she ends up meeting Jonathan. I think they have like a somewhat of a connection, and then they like go their separate ways. And I want to say, it says a decade later, fate reunites Anika and Jonathan in Chicago, and she's living a quiet life as a librarian. He's a Wall Street whiz, recovering from a divorce and seeking a fresh start. The attraction and strong feelings they once shared are instantly rekindled, but unless they confront the circumstances that drove them apart, their second chance at love and happiness will end before it truly begins. And one thing about contemporary fiction is you don't know if they're going to be together. Like, these authors, go crazy. Like, they go wild. Like, they do not care about your heart. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna like write what I feel like this, like how the book is supposed to end to me. And I feel like with romance, a lot of the time you kind of know like if it's gonna be like a happy ending or not, which is great when I'm in the mood for a happy ending. Like, sometimes I'm like, I need a happy ending. Like, life is down bad, I need a happy ending. So this will be really interesting to see, like, do they end up together? Like, what drove them apart? And then I also picked up Evenings and Weekends. This book also just came out, I'm pretty sure. It looks incredible, but it says for fans of Sally Rooney, and y'all know I do not like Sally Rooney's writing, so I'm a little nervous about it. But it looks really good. It says it's about Maggie. She's 30, pregnant and broke, and she's facing with moving back into the town she fought to escape. Meanwhile, it says, faced with moving back to the town she fought to escape, she's wondering if having a baby with her boyfriend Ed will be the last spontaneous act of her life. Ed, meanwhile, is trying to run from his past with Maggie's best friend, Phil, and harboring secret dreams of his own. Phil hates his office job and is living for the weekend, while falling for his housemate, Keith. But there's a problem. Keith has a boyfriend, and there might not be room for 3 people in the relationship. Then there's Rosaline, Phil's mother, who's tired of feeling like a side character in her life. She's just been diagnosed with cancer and is traveling to London to tell Phil if she can ever get a hold of him. As Friday night approaches, all their lives are set to change forever. Temperatures are soaring and the weekend is about to begin. It's strikingly heartfelt, sexually charged, and disarmingly comic. So this sounds like a book about a bunch of people who like interweave and then maybe something blows up at the end. My kind of book. Literally my kind of book. And this is set in 2019, it says. So it looks good. It says summer in London, stops for no one, the half-naked drunks and stoners, the bachelorette parties glugging from bejeweled bottles, the drag queens puffing on hurried cigarettes. It's June in 2019, and everyone has converged on the city's parks, beer gardens, and street corners to revel in the collection of joys of being alive. So, sounds good. Sounds so good. So these are all the books that I got. Very, very different. Like, all so different, but I love that for me because I've been branching out to new things, and I just think that that's really cool. So I did end up finishing this book, Where Sleeping Girls Lie. I'm going to give you guys like a full wrap up with the other book that I read. I am going to start the only one left, so I will give you guys an update after I read a little bit more of that. I have kind of gotten a little into it, but not really enough to even like say anything. So we're gonna go home, read some of that, and then I'll give you guys a little update. Some books that I finished, and I also have a package to open with you guys. The package is over here. I'm gonna open that last. I wanna go through the books that I read first. So I read 3 books, which definitely were giving cozy autumn vibes. I finished What Have You Done first by Cherie LaPena. I actually think that this was my favorite book out of all the books that I read, just because it was so fast paced, and that's what I look for in a thriller. This one I'm rating 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, it's a book that was super fast paced. I don't think I'll ever think about it again. And I think it is my least favorite book of this author, but still my favorite book of the stack, even though I did enjoy some of the books that I read. This author's like writing is just so fast paced and so easy to read. Like, you'll finish this book in like a day or 2. This book recently came out, and I feel like it's a good one if you like fast paced thrillers. Like, if you like Freida McFadden's writing, pick up this book. Like, it is very, very enjoyable. Again, I feel like whenever there's authors that I already am obsessed with and love, and I've read a lot of their books, I almost compare their books to their previous books. Like, if I'm comparing this book to the other books I read, top tier. If I'm comparing this book to the books that the author has written before, not my favorite. Does that make sense? So I feel like maybe that's like not the best scale to use, but I did really enjoy this, but it still wasn't like my favorite out of the books that this author has written. But I did enjoy it. And then I read Where Sleeping Girls Lie. This book to me was definitely like a letdown. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it was super wordy for no reason. Like there was just a lot going on, a lot of characters. I wasn't super invested in it. I was kind of just like, okay, can we get to the end? Like I almost wanted to DNF this book and I never have DNF'd a book. I will say the last 100 pages did definitely make up for it. And if you like books with mystery, you will like this book. I just am not a mystery lover. I don't really like mysteries at all. Like I've read maybe like 5 mysteries and all of them I don't like. And I think for me, I just like fast-paced, like popcorn thrillers. That's just like my vibe. And I've had some of you guys who've commented and been like, oh, like if you want like a real thriller or a real mystery, like read this author. I don't really want anything super intricate. Like when I get into thrillers, I want it to be fast-paced. I want it to be like edge of my seat, like eating popcorn, just like what's next? You know what I mean? That's what I look for. And I feel like when I want like intricacy in writing, I usually look to something else, not like a thriller. I also think that in thrillers or mysteries, I don't really connect a ton with the characters because I don't really know who's bad and who's not bad. So I'm kind of like side-eyeing everyone, which I feel like you have to have some type of connection with characters in books to actually like really enjoy the book, which is why I like contemporary fiction or romance. And I don't feel like I get that a ton in mysteries and thrillers. So I've never actually rated a thriller 5 stars just because I feel like for me, I need that like connection. I need the connection with the character for me to be obsessed with it. Even though there's thrillers that I love, like Never Lie by Freida McFadden. Love that thriller. Shri Lapina's thrillers, love those. Lucinda Berry's thrillers, love those. But I just have never rated one 5 stars because I'm like, I don't want to read this again. Like I got what I needed from it. And I feel like this one you will really like if you do like mysteries. Mysteries aren't for me. And I also feel like it has like a very powerful message too, which you don't see too much in thrillers or mysteries. This book I was a little let down with as well, mostly because it was just so highly rated by so many people. And I've read The House Across the Lake by this author and loved it. So I kind of went into this book expecting it to kind of be like edge of your seat type of vibes. It took a while to pick up, like a good while. I feel like I didn't really get like that fast-paced feeling, that twisty-turny feeling until, I don't know, it took a while, like maybe page like 200, 170-ish. Like it took a bit for me. And that I think is like, I don't know, that's like my biggest qualm with thrillers. If like a thriller isn't like super fast paced and doesn't like get me into it right away. I also feel like if I don't read a thriller in a day, like maybe I'm not as obsessed with it as I should be, because when I read a thriller, I want it to be bingeable. I want to like not want to put it down. I do think the ending of this, like I did not see coming at all, whereas this one was a tad predictable, but still like super enjoyable, even though it was a little predictable. This one I didn't see coming at all, and I think that that is something I do really love in a thriller. I love when it can like catch me off guard. So definitely lots of really good things out of all these books. This one I think I'm going to rate either 3 or 3.5. I'm not sure yet. I'm still like debating on it, but you guys can always go over to my Goodreads and see my ratings there. Once it's on Goodreads, it's on there for good. Like I don't change my ratings once they're on Goodreads because it's like a vault almost. Like once it's there, it's there. But I got this massive box from Reese's Book Club, and I've worked with them before on Instagram, and I'm not someone who really takes a lot of gifting, to be honest, just because I don't really like to contribute to waste. I also feel like I have a very particular like type of book that I normally like to read. So if people are like sending me books, like I just am like, don't do that. You know, like I want to read the books that are on my shelf, and I don't want to have books on my shelf that I don't want to read. So yeah, I don't usually take a ton of gifting for that reason. But I grabbed this because this is from Hallmark, and it is in collaboration with Reese's Book Club, and it says The Chicken Sisters exclusively streaming on Hallmark. So I thought that would be cool because I love Hallmark. I'm a Hallmark girly at heart. This is so cute. Let me show you guys what this looks like. So it looks like this is streaming September 10th. So by the time you guys see this, this will be streaming. I love Hallmark. Like literally love everything that they have. What is this? This is like a little, oh my gosh, it's an apron. How cute. I actually need an apron. I literally never wear aprons, and this is so cute. It says Chicken Sisters, and it says Hallmark, Williams-Sonoma on the front of this apron. They also sent the book, which I have not read yet. Super, super sweet of them. They also sent, oh my gosh, a Stanley! And it says Hallmark, the Chicken Sisters. It's literally like a Stanley quencher with Hallmark. Wow. They also sent sriracha and a little chicken and some jewelry. They sent a whisk. This is so sweet. Whenever I get like little packages like this from businesses, it is just like makes me so happy because I just feel so blessed to be like picked to like get all these goodies. This looks like such a cute read too. It says 3 generations, 2 chicken shacks, 1 recipe for disaster. All's fair in love, war, and the kitchen. And it's now on Hulu, or not Hulu, it's on Hallmark and it's streaming. It looks super cute. It's about, it says chicken Mimis and chicken Frannies have spent a century vying to serve up the best fried chicken in the state. It's in Kansas, and they have like a legendary feud between each other, between like the different owners. I think that that'll be really cute. And this is the front. It says only one can rule the roost. This is literally giving Hallmark. Like, I feel like I'm gonna watch this tonight because I just love Hallmark movies. They make me like ooey gooey and happy, you know what I mean? But this is really sweet of them to send this to me because they don't have to do that. And yeah, anyway, wanted to share that because I just thought that would be really fun. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed all the recs that I gave and all the books that I picked up. I just feel like this is my era for trying new things. And I hope you guys will try reading new things too. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.